Oh shit. Here we go again.
Hey, Gavox here. So, I want to talk about Madden 20's franchise mode. Now, there was a blog released, a video done, so a video log with really bad sound, but I want to go through, break down what they said about it. There's two new things with franchise, well, more than a couple, but there's two franchises, right? There's Superstar, and then there's like the base franchise where you're like the coach, you know, that kind of stuff, that kind of CFM. So, I used to be a huge franchise nerd. I still am a franchise nerd, but for other games, because Madden's franchise hasn't been up to snuff the past few years. I've done this video. Madden 20's franchise mode sucks for about 3 or 4 years now. I think it's 3. And I always get comments about how I'm wrong, and then 4 months later, nobody ever comes back and say, hey, Gutfox, you were actually right, it did suck, but we'll see those comments again, I'm sure, about everybody defending Madden 20. So, face of the franchise, I'm going to do another video on that. You can check out my leak video on that, but this blog, which I'll link in the description, has a lot more info now on it, but I'll do another video on the info on face of the franchise. So we're going to skip over that, and the thing is, I feel bad skipping over it because that's the thing, they put the majority of their work and effort in the face of the franchise. So once again, this one's left on the back burner, like the other franchise actually leading a team. You know, what I think a lot of people got into the Madden series doing, but other franchise mode improvements. Let's just go through it, talk through each one, and then I'll compare it to another franchise mode right now that I'm currently playing in a different game, and I'll show why Madden has a lot of ways to catch up. So, we heard fan feedback from Superstar for a Superstar experience, which we talked, that's face of the franchise. We also dove deep into the forums and Reddit Game Changer to find out franchise mode and other ways too with that. Here are the 4 things to get back into the huddle. I didn't say that very well, but you guys can read. So the Pro Bowl returns to Madden 20. It's an obvious inclusion, something they should have had in all the time. I think it left in 2012 or so in that area. They brought it back. The technology's here again, I guess. Cool. You can get into the Pro Bowl when you're loading up. I mean, I guess we give them credit for working on it and getting it done, for slapping helmets on different players. I don't know. That's what they're leading with, right? Something that was in the game a decade ago. Okay, I don't want to be too negative about a game I haven't played yet, but wow, okay, cool. You brought it back. Good job. Should have been there. Should I give you credit for that? Sure, I guess. Good work bringing it back. That should have never been out in the first place, but awesome. Rating spread. Now, this is something that has been an issue for years, and the weird thing is about this rating spread, as I bring up my notes here, I don't think EA is they don't have a very good backbone. All right, so rating spread used to be greater, and then all these NFL players would complain about their ratings being so low to EA devs, but then the cowards there would say, okay, all right, we'll bring you all up to 70, we'll bring you up to 80, well, you know, we'll bend to you. And we see this still in EA, them bending to the development trades. They get this crap from NFL players like, oh, you put me as a slow development, and EA's like, oh man, maybe we should baby him, put him as a normal development. Now normal development is the lowest overall development. So, like, cool, they're bringing the rating spread back to make players look differently, have a bigger, you know, variance in the stats on the guys. But come on, these cowards are gonna go back to it and bring them back together once NFL players start complaining about their 50 overall grade. I'm better than 50. Oh yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Who cares about the game? Let's appease people. No, fuck them. If they suck, if they're not starters, fuck them. Make them 1 overall. Yeah. So, why have a 100 rating scale if you're only going to use 30 points? Good. At least they're bringing up to 50 now. Alright? Be like MLB The Show. MLB The Show gives people 0 fucking speed. Those people have fucking backbones. So, tell them just to get better. Alright? If you run a fucking 6 flat 40, guess what? You have 1 speed. Alright, new scenarios. Now, scenarios something to talk about above in this. I'll just break it down. Basically, scenarios like this stuff. Right? Practice mode, you get scenarios to help improve yourself. Otherwise, there's dialogue choice. I think these are scenarios too that'll be in the coaching mode. So you'll see like choices like that, branching choices. Let's see what they're at. We've added all new in-system game that generates personalized playable scenarios featuring interaction with the characters via a variety of ways, branching dialogue. So this stuff, I just should have read it up front instead of trying to explain it on my own. Branching dialogue choices. Do they compare it to Mass Effect or Skyrim? I don't know. They compare it to something like that. So branching dialogue choices. Dynamic events that reflect your performance choices. Challenges that build a story of a unique NFL career. So they'll have Hall of Fame inductions again. Cool. So different scenario editors like that. Those are going to be in franchise mode. Neat. Development traits. They've made large updates to our development trait system to support superstar and zone abilities. Development traits Madden 20 are normal, slow, star, normal, superstar, and superstar X Factor. Both superstar and X Factor players can earn superstar abilities, but only X Factor players can earn zone abilities. We've also addressed one of the community's biggest complaints, players dropping a development trait, and Madden 20 players can no longer go down a development trait at the end of the season. All right, so first off, I think you only get 3 superstar players on each side of the ball. So that's limited. They said that in the live stream. So getting more than that, and it's kind of a waste. You might as well just trade them away, get better overall players instead of the superstar abilities. But then they'll have superstar because they're getting traded. Maybe for draft picks or something. But that's like on an online CFM, you'll probably want to do that. Use that strategy more than just acquire all the best players in an offline and cheese the CPU. So overall, like this, I'm gonna go through the rest of it before I talk more on this. Maybe I should circle back. Nah, I'll talk about it right now. Madden 20 players can no longer go down development trade at the end of the season. So Madden 19 development, it kind of sucked, right? Like you basically were top 6 of your position and a couple stats combined, and you got like a superstar development. Then 6 to 8, and so on and so forth. They stripped the logic out of the CPU for this, and for the PC version. So it sucks that you can't like draft and develop rookies in 19, and I think they really need to take a look at that. And this kind of helps fix that, which is really nice. Like if you draft a rookie with superstar X Factor, they won't go down just because you're leaving them behind players, right? There'll be second stringers. Like in this game now, maybe Aaron Rodgers becomes Aaron Rodgers. There's an Aaron Rodgers type, and they're like, you sit him behind your Hall of Fame quarterback. The problem is you're not really getting a lot of experience by not playing him in games. That's the biggest issue I find in Madden. Like it feels like there should be an off-season progression regression system. Like young players just learn. They train in the off-season. Something like add a little RNG in there. Sometimes guys in like their mid-20s just somehow break out and become good players. Maybe there should be like a random, like, oh, hey, that guy got +8 overall just because it just happens. And then like that guy, okay, he lost 2 overall. That guy gained 3 overall. Just off RNG in the offseason, they had a good offseason, whatever. You don't even really need to explain it further than that. Just like they used to have that in old Maddens, the random, like, so your backup quarterback could develop behind your starter. And I think that should be in the development in the future. But at least you're not losing superstar abilities. I see a lot of complaints about maybe there's too many superstar ability players in the league going forward, and that's a valid complaint. I don't know how they're going to balance having 100 superstar ability players unless they somehow figure out a way not to give them that trait or earn that trait through like end of season awards or anything in the future. We'll see, I guess. I mean, they didn't really describe, they didn't go into that much depth on it. That's something that's going to kind of be up there and left in there. So yeah, development, I mean, that's huge, right? That's basically your entire franchise is right in this paragraph. That's what you base your entire thing off of. So I hope they really did a lot of work with that and balanced it, but oftentimes a lot of imbalances come due to development in franchise mode. And do they talk in trades? We'll talk about trades in a little bit. So coach mode. It's also getting scenarios, and the changes to development traits have been a big aspect of coach mode. Coaches will want to build the teams of superstar X Factor players via trades. Like, here's the thing. If you're able to trade for superstar or X Factor superstars, is that a good trade? Like, the trading system in Madden has been fucked for years, right? I don't think I've played a single Madden with a good trade system, going back 2 decades. So, like, you can still sign free agents and trade them right away. Like, guys that are, like, veterans on big contracts should be impossible to move. There's always some way of cheesing it to make, like, they don't value draft picks high enough for some crappy players. So they don't really talk about trade logic in here, but they really need to look at that hard for franchise, because if the trade logic is the same as next year as in previous years, I mean, what's the point? Like, right? You could just cheese the CPU out with that stuff. You really have to. I hate when the game makes you put self-imposed limits on trying to win, right? You could trade for an entire first round, essentially. Like, there are ways of manipulating the CPU that way. So if they could do something like that where you don't actually have to nerf yourself as a user, if you can try and get smart, make smart trades, I love that. Contract updates, love it. They're going back to make it more match the NFL. Cool. Progression updates, we've overhauled the progression tuning and making changes to XP gains from weekly training, action on the field, and goal completion. These changes should ultimately lead to users being able to increase the overall more players of the team and have more options to develop the roster. Like I said, the Aaron Rodgers types. Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Draft updates. They're taking a full pass on a rookie generators. People familiar with the draft class from past. New surprises, names, bodies, ratings, and more. I think they'll still have the draft class importer, which is really cool. That people make custom draft classes that you can kind of bring in. They don't talk about removing that, so that was a good addition last year. Basically, their only addition. One more draft surprise: that rookies with superstar development or higher trait will have their development trait hidden until they play through at least half a season. These players have their abilities hidden until they reveal the development trait. This means that if you draft either superstar or X Factor superstar, you won't know exactly what you drafted until later in the season. Use a preseason widely. Well, why? Why? Who gives a fuck, right? What does that matter? Like, if you draft somebody and they don't have a development trait, you're like, oh, I got myself a stud. Okay. Let me play it out until they reveal themselves as a stud. I don't know. Artificial depth, artificial height. Like, you know you got a stud. What's the point? The zone and the not knowing their abilities? You gotta wait 8 games? I don't get it, right? Somebody explain to me why this is important. Why is this something they're bragging about? Is it just because that's one of the few things they've done? Like, is this team just lazy or just only like 2 people doing it? I think they might have a resource struggle here in the CFM team. This is ugly. This is like looking in the mirror if you're a Gut Fox. It's like, why? I don't want to see this. Why would you brag about that? Gameplay effects updated. They talk about throw power overhauls to change QB trajectories, but that's just a tease of their gameplay streams. So let's go over the rest of the screenshots that somebody linked on Reddit from the stream. Kind of the important stuff. This is from like the signing day, face of the franchise stuff. They got a face editor, face of the franchise more important, but you can do that. I mean, like, I don't know. It's whatever. We look at those two. All right, so the X Factors by QQ. Is that what? Quarterback QQ. So this one, high-low, unlocks at 80 overall. Then they kind of, they blurred out a lot of things here to the middle of the screen. When using in the zone, so you have to hit a certain thing to do to be in the zone. Perfect passing accuracy when using high-low throws, excluding under pressure. So high point passes, low point passes, right? Not high-low reads. Using high-low throws. So yeah, basically throw it high, get it on accurate on stuff. So we'll see if high point passes are as powerful as they were last year in 19, or if low passes are as powerful as they were in like 18 or 17, whatever, where there was like instant completion because of defense. I think it was 18. Defense is like every year. 18 is when it came meta though. So it doesn't show any of like how to get there or what to do, but there's a lot of other things here. There's rocket arm. I'm guessing that's the Mahomes one. Is it like a radar? Is it like a bullseye? Is it a cliffhanger? And then a present, and then a spade. So I don't know what those could be for the quarterback. Whatever it is, kind of cool. But this is also face of the franchise, superstar X Factor, scrambler, improviser, field general, strong arm for the archetypes. We know archetypes. Goals, depth chart, yeah, whatever. Face of the franchise, preseason stuff. Here are some text conversations, texting DLC. Here's the franchise stuff I want to talk about. They gave a new background, whatever. I mean, they kind of went with the MUT style. I think the red background has to do with being an X Factor player. Melvin Gordon got demoted to 4th string running back. Watts there, bronze, so gold out there at Henry. I think that must be superstar versus superstar X Factor, right? Gold is superstar like Keenan Allen, Henry, Williams. But Phillip Rivers is the X Factor. He's got those X Factor, huh? So if Keenan Allen doesn't have X Factors, that's kind of weird. I don't know if it's MUT and rating based. I think it is based off the development trait, though, but I'm not sure. Based off the superstar mode. So here we are back on the schemes and developing players on the schemes. They said last year it gave you a 50% bonus. This year it's only going to give you a 10% bonus for XP if they fit the scheme. So that way you can develop more different type of players, more different. Like you'll be able to have, you know, not just speedy wide receivers. You can have a tall guy and he'll get developed as almost as well as like a speedy guy. So if you have like an air raid or a spread scheme or something like that. That doesn't change a whole lot. They changed the AI, the UI, but all they did is copy over MUT. They have these ability things over here to kind of show them off, which is nice, but doesn't really change a whole lot. A few things. This is not that good. This isn't enough. And like I talked about, trade logic, player aggression, and development. Like the CPU AI needs to be overhauled, right? The CPU AI needs to be better. It needs to be like out of the park baseball, right? They have a good fucking game. Let's take a look at it. Scouting. They didn't mention anything about scouting in Madden 20. Here it is, out of the park baseball. Here's a great franchise mode. It looks kind of confusing at first. Here's just the home page. You got strategy you can do. Like, there needs to be more strategy in Madden. Like, I get there's certain sliders there. Whatever. Front office, set your budgets. This shit needs to be here. We can go through your expenses. You can then go your owner. This is kind of your history. Your accounting, basically your budget year to year, projected next year. Projected revenue, expenses. Like, this is what us nerds want, right? A breakdown of the salary of all the players on your team. Upcoming free agents from your team. Scouting, how much you put into your scouting department makes them better at actually scouting players. Player development, your top players. This is more MLB stuff with the minor leagues. Personnel, like, why aren't coaches, position coaches in the game? Like, sorry, not coaches, but offensive defense coordinator. Why aren't position coaches here? Why is this not in the game, right? Why does it feel like a baseball game is like light years ahead of Madden? And Madden is the biggest sport in the nation, and baseball's knocking them out of the park. Here's your lineups. I've only got the DH. Got the pitching. Here's your overview. This is my minor league system, so don't pay attention to that. Waivers, DFA, those trade status, international, so you can look at guys from across the pond. So, like, and this is just the Pirates thing. Like, there's still the MLB first year player draft, whatever. Get the homepage, standings. There's reports and info. You can find a player, free agents, waiver wire, trading block, draft pool, draft order. That's in that Madden. That's whatever. But, like, then there's finance reports. It's like there's preseason predictions, minor league system rankings, positional rankings, top prospects, player rankings. There's so many great things about this game that's Madden's lacking. And yeah, maybe you might say this is too much for Madden, and I could agree. There's baseball's a much more in-depth simulator because of the minor league system. But, like, they could have college guys, they could have freshmen, sophomore, junior colleges, stuff that you look through there. You can set individual player strategies, which is, I mean, kind of cool. But get you overrated. Anyways, so the franchise mode itself in Madden, I'm a little let down by what we've seen overall, for what they're bragging about. Pro Bowl, rating spread, scenarios, which they put in the face of the franchise they moved over. Development traits. I don't know. This is just kind of basically taking stuff from other modes and kind of folding it into. I like that they update the contracts, but that should be done every year, right? Like, literally, you could just go to overthecap.com and copy it over. Like, this will take one person a day to do. Progression updates. That's good. That's important. And then, yeah, obviously draft updates would take a while, but... And gameplay isn't even the franchise team. I mean, this is just a pathetic list. This is it for franchise. Is it another bad... Like, I get it with Face of the Franchise being the new thing. That's cool and all. And it's needed. And, I mean, I don't really give a shit, but I know a lot of other people do, so I'm not going to knock it. But that's it for franchise this year, huh? Yeah, that sucks. I watched the stream. Wasn't that impressed. Feels bad, man. But that's the end of that. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about franchise mode, and and what it's looking like for 20. I'm obviously. I think everybody's more excited about the face of the franchise stuff than the actual Madden franchise. But another year, another terrible CFM mode right there.